What's up, guys? In honor of one of my favorite players of all time, Russell Westbrook, announcing his retirement, I would like to go on a deep dive of his career. I think Russ made a huge mistake coming to play with LeBron and AD, and unfortunately that really tarnished his legacy due to all the scapegoating that happened. The main point of this video that I will circle back to in the end is, this man is the epitome of what many of us quote-unquote old school fans loved about the NBA and sports, and we'll get into all that and the reasons why. But unfortunately, I think a lot of people misunderstood Russ during his career, including most importantly Kevin Durant. He, to me, without a doubt, could be the second best player on a championship team, if people simply understood how to work with him. But he was misused and miscast throughout his career, and the unfortunate part about Russ is he also never developed a three-pointer or a good enough handle. But man, what a player. Let's get into it. Growing up in Southern California, I was a huge UCLA fan, and I first heard of Russ when he threw down a ton of dunks as a sophomore at UCLA. His energy jumped off the screen, and he started making waves in scouting circles. Even so, watching all of UCLA's Final Four runs back then with Kevin Love, I still thought he was extremely raw and was mostly a dunker. So I was shocked when he went 4th overall to the Sonics, soon to be OKC Thunder. His athleticism immediately played in the NBA, but his jump shot and decision making held him back, shooting under 40% his rookie year. But after his second season and his rapport started building with KD and Jeff Green, he worked really hard on his pull-up jumper, which in turn opened up lots of driving lanes, and he made his first All-Star team. The Thunder were drafting just as good then as they are now, finding Serge Ibaka and James Harden soon after getting Russ. They quickly became the best young core in the league, and they started having great battles in the West with Kobe's Lakers and Steph's Warriors in the playoffs. Finally in 2012, they beat those guys, and the reward was facing one of the most stacked super teams of all time in the 2012 Miami Heat. Now Russ was 23 during this finals, so yes, he had become a star by this time, but at 23, outside of Dwayne Wade in 2006, who had arguably the most impressive individual finals performance of my adult lifetime as a 24-year-old, most stars that age are still taking their lumps and finding their way. But the crazy thing about this finals was, the narrative was LeBron versus KD. But most people forget, Russ actually took the most shots of any player in that series, taking 24 in Game 1, which the Thunder won, and then as the series went downhill, he took 26 in Game 2, 18 in Game 3, 32 in Game 4, in which he dropped 43, including 17 in the 4th, and then finally 20 shots in the 5th and final game, which ended the series. Now if you actually watch the film, he was absolutely unguardable on the fast break and in the open floor. However, in the half court, he was often out of control and taking ill-advised shots. When his mid-range was falling, especially in Game 4, he put up 43. But many possessions, Kevin Durant wouldn't even touch the ball. Now if you watch the film, here's the real story. Russell Westbrook is technically a point guard, and later on in his career, he actually did start to pass a lot more. But at this point, he was a fast break demon and streaky pull-up jumper guy. He didn't really run the half-court sets that much. The guy that did that was more James Harden and a little bit Derek Fisher. So here's the real question that I'm asking as a microcosm for this whole video. Was Russ a low IQ player for shooting the Thunder out of some games? Or were Kevin Durant and James Harden no-showing in multiple second halves due to the spotlight being too big, and Russ just simply got sick of it and started trying to take over? Well, the answer really lies in, do you think Russ is a selfish team cancer? Or do you think he's a fiery win-at-all-cost competitor who plays so hard that he runs himself into mistakes and forgets about the team sometimes? Well, if you've clearly studied Russ throughout his career, listened to him in interviews, his teammates, his coaches, it's clear it's the latter. He's a great teammate in the huddle and in the locker room. But if you don't have clear communication and a plan and possibly a floor general point guard, he'll turn over and shoot you out of some games. Kevin Durant has said many times, KD thinks he's a great leader by example with his work ethic, but he doesn't have to pull guys aside and make rah-rah speeches. James Harden has famously said, quote-unquote, I'm the system, while at the same time going clubbing and gaining weight to force himself out of numerous teams. So yes, it got trendy to blame Russ over the years because of the highlight reel turnovers. But think about your local rec league or your high school team. Who would you rather be in the trenches with? Someone who is talented as hell but has zero leadership and backs up in hard situations? Or someone who plays hard every play and is fearless, but will make some boneheaded plays? I'll take the fearless and the effort all day, and some proper leadership and coaching can fix the rest. But unfortunately, OKC never got either. So the finals ended in a loss, and the Thunder felt they couldn't pay James Harden, We all know the rest, and James goes on to become a superstar for the Houston Rockets. KD and Russ had a couple good runs that fell short against the other rising teams in the West post-Lakers, but they were not able to get close to the finals again until 2016. The Thunder were obviously good that year, but people almost unanimously favored the Warriors simply based on record, with the Warriors having set the NBA regular season record for wins. However, on the surface, KD had become more assertive by this time and was starting to demand the ball more the first 4 games. With the right balance and pecking order, success followed, and the Thunder shockingly took a commanding 3-1 lead in the Warriors. However, a common mental fallacy occurred in the minds of the Thunder, and especially one Russell Westbrook. Knowing that this was their best chance to make it back to the finals, with what happened in the 2012 finals, this started to get in Russ and KD's heads. After a hot start to this series for KD, in games 3 and 4, which were OKC wins, KD had started to struggle, especially in the second half of game 4, while Russ had actually started to heat up. As game 5 started to slip away in the fourth quarter, Russ started feeling like KD wasn't getting it done. His fear of what happened in 2012, where he felt the moment was too big for his co-stars, got to him, and he started going 1000% in the fourth quarters, which is kind of understandable. Game 6 Clay dropped 19 in the fourth quarter, in which the Warriors outscored the Thunder 33-18, as KD went 1 for 7 and Russ went 2 for 7. As Clay kept bombing and the Warriors started pulling ahead, Russ started to abandon the offense and started driving to the rim at will, getting lost in the air, throwing bailouts to KD, missing shots, and accumulating 4 killer turnovers. But the beauty of Russ is, he means well and never gives up, at least he was being fearless. So he came back in Game 7 determined to fix it all. He improved his playmaking, generating 13 assists. This time though, unfortunately with the Thunder nursing a 6-point lead at halftime, he came out very off, playing all 12 minutes in the third quarter but going 0 for 3 with 0 points, as the Warriors went from down 6 to up 11. Russ and KD were understandably devastated. They finally got back to the precipice of the finals, only to blow a 3-1 lead. Russ quickly shifted his focus to next year, assuming KD was automatically re-signing to a team that was just 1 win away from making the finals. However, KD had heard the noise about being one of the best players of all time to have never won a title, and he began to picture the next 5 years with Russ. After Draymond Green called KD crying from the parking lot to recruit KD, he made the shocking decision to leave Russ and go to the 73-win Warriors. Russ was understandably hurt. Word slowly leaked out from KD's camp that when he deeply thought about his future with the Thunder, he just didn't think they could win with Russ as the primary decision maker going forward. The rest is history, with the Warriors going on to win back-to-back titles with an extremely stacked team, and Durant winning Finals MVP both years. Now Russ had free reign, which many people think deep down he always wanted. But again, I think that's misunderstood when you look at his later actions, but we'll get to that. You knew going into the next year, the statistics were going to explode, and did they ever? Russ went on to average a triple-double for the next 2 years, famously barely winning MVP over James Harden in 2016 with 42 triple-doubles. Now did Russ hunt triple-doubles, or did he simply just play hard as hell and the results followed? If you watch the film, I think he played hard as hell the first 3.5 quarters, and in the last 5 minutes, he was definitely hunting triple-doubles for sure. But hey, he was trying to send a message to Durant and to his teammates that hey, we can win without him, and I know he was dying for a second round matchup with KD and the Warriors. But unfortunately, his old friend James Harden knocked him out 4-1 in the first round, with really only injury-prone Victor Oladipo being his offensive help. But help was on the way in the form of a new star. Paul George was traded from the Indiana Pacers to the Thunder for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis. Now Russ finally had his new co-star. PG said all the right things at the time, and you could tell he really admired Russ's effort and fearlessness from afar. But after an MVP caliber campaign from George resulted in the famous heartbreaking Damian Lillard walk-off, George started to have the same doubts as KD. He felt that his playoff ceiling was also capped for the same reasons, and when Kawhi Leonard came calling, PG was gone. Russ felt betrayed once again, with the difference in the teams for PG really just being a choice between Russ and Kawhi. So while he said all the right things and said he would like to stay at first, the writing on the wall of a rebuild was there, and eventually he agreed to help look for trade partners with Sam Presti. Now again, this is the point where I think Russ shows his true colors and why he gets an unfair rap. He was extremely loyal to his no-name teammates in OKC, he was loyal to the city, and he had 2 different coaches and non-leader co-stars who didn't have the people skills to figure out how to work with and channel his insatiable competitive fire into a winning partnership. And even then, He was ready to run it back a third time with no fellow All-Stars. In today's NBA culture, I respect all of that a lot. But he eventually acquiesced and was shipped off to the Houston Rockets for his arch-rival Chris Paul and multiple draft picks. James Harden and Chris Paul had just had an ugly breakup, and things didn't last long between Russ and James either. A beautiful chemistry at the start had them singing each other's praises, but James Harden will only let people cut into his usage rate if the media is singing him praises for doing it. As soon as he doesn't get the recognition, he's hitting the club, but things are getting ugly. Russ has a simple ethos: play hard every possession, win at all costs, fear no one, and be authentically yourself. And of course, talk a lot of trash. James Harden is literally none of those things. So as the clashes started to build, Russ knew between the two he would probably be shipped out first. But as all these guys have massive contracts, the Rockets needed a big one to match, and the only one they could find at the time was John Wall of the Wizards. James Harden understandably wasn't thrilled with the return being an injury-prone John Wall, so it also signaled the end of his run in Houston. And now this brings us to the point of Westbrook's career that has unfortunately, in my view, wrongfully tarnished his legacy. But of course, he is also not without blame, and we'll also get into that. Russ's time on the Wizards was always unlikely to be a time of title contending, but with Bradley Beal still there, the Wizards front office was hoping for a playoff run. Russ still put up elite stats in Washington, getting a lot of triple-doubles, but they were eliminated in 5 games in the playoffs. And here comes LeBron James and Anthony Davis. LeBron's mentality has always famously been, ship out the young guys and bring in my playoff vets, famously stating, "We top heavy as bleep," despite personally handpicking the whole roster of former All-Stars when he was in Cleveland. Now with the Wizards going nowhere, LeBron viewed Russ as his next clever GM move. The advocating behind the scenes was incessant, and with LeBron still in the good graces of Jeannie Buss at this point for coming to LA in the first place, Rob Pelinka got to work. The only problem was LeBron's taking the max, AD is close to the max and soon got it, and Russ was on the last 2 years of a ginormous max deal at $47 million that he signed with the Thunder in 2017. But the Lakers made up that salary by shipping out 2 key pieces from their bubble championship team, in KCP and Kyle Kuzma, along with their last first-round pick that they could even trade. This was a great trade for the Wizards, escaping from a disaster contract for a rebuild and also recouping a first-round pick. So LeBron's latest super team was formed, with 3 future first-ballot Hall of Famers in Russ, AD, and LeBron. Everything looked beautiful to LeBron and Russ, with Russ coming back home to LA and him finally getting a chance for a championship run. There was only one problem, however. Remember Russ's ethos: play hard every possession, fear nothing, win at all costs, and be a straight shooter. No behind-the-scenes BS. Well, the same as James Harden, this is again the opposite of LeBron James's approach. The clashing was immediate and obvious on and off the court.
Let's get greedy. Let's get real greedy, man. Let's get real greedy. Get greedy, man. We got on through, man. Yes, sir.
You have to for the next man. Keep having fun. Win, lose, draw, have fun.
And we got breaking news out of the NBA. Deal's going to send Russell Westbrook to the Jazz.
With the season not going well, Russ only knows one way to fix things, and that's to try harder. So the sprinting increased, as did the out of control and the turnovers. The confidence in his jump shot, with everyone calling him Westbrook, cratered. It dropped off the face of the earth, and as LeBron tried to take back over and play his driving kick style, teams started leaving Russ so open it was becoming comical, and it also gave LeBron a perfect scapegoat. The most popular sports talk show in the world at the time was Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, and they had found their new scapegoat as well.
For our daily ritual here on Undisputed, the Russell Westbrook turnover tape. Here we go. We got all 7 of them. Whoops. What is that? Russ, what are you doing? What were you thinking there? Russ, are you thinking? Oh, Russ, dribbled off your own foot, I believe. Whoops. Russ, 7 turnovers. Russ, easy. No, that's just a bad idea. Jalen Green intercepts that. Russ, we're about to get to the
Watch this is
my
right here.
favorite of the night. Whoops.
Oh my goodness.
Russ.
That's what I like. Are you kidding
lost
me?
The handle and lost it out of bounds. Russ, no, you lobbed it to the up
The
to
backboard.
rim. Yep. Russ, you can't dribble between 2 guys. They teach you that in grade school, right? Russ, think. No, there are 2 guys in between you and your target, right? The bank was closed on this one because Russ tries a jumper here late in the 3rd quarter. They're up 1, and he shoots it so high up, he hits the tip top of the backboard.
You know, when you normally put together a little montage, I just want to show the people at home. I want to show the people 3 plays. 3 plays from my guy.
Okay.
Just pull that right. Look at this. This is the first play offense. This is the Lakers' first offensive play. That's the Lakers. The first time they had the ball. This is what happened.
Yep. I saw that one. Derek White got it. Easily. Whoops.
That's the first play out of in the second half.
It was.
That's the first play.
Yep.
So the first play in the first quarter, the first play in the second.
The Lakers crashed and burned in that stretch, and Russ's agent knew his value was tanked. So he told Russ to opt into the final year at $47 million, pretty much financially sinking the Lakers' hopes of trading him in any sort of beneficial way. Now, just after advocating for him to come at any cost, LeBron shifted behind the scenes and started strongly pushing for Russ to be moved for the Lakers' final available first-round draft pick, which had just become available to trade again. Jeanie Buss was furious, feeling LeBron wanted to take credit for bringing the trade together and absolving himself when it didn't work out and set the Lakers back for years. But Rob Pelinka had no choice, eventually finding a salary dump ally in the Jazz, who promptly bought him out. The Clippers and the Nuggets gave him a good mini renaissance as a pseudo sixth man, but his lack of three-point shooting eventually led him to a swan song with the Kings and his way to retirement this week. Now to his legacy and the real reason I made this video, which is to talk about his mentality and who we support and choose to vilify as fans in this league. The same as I did discussing Draymond Green, Russ has to be penalized for never developing a 36% three-point shot. His highest was 34% in 2016, but he was usually hovering around 31% or lower, and this is simply unacceptable due to the crazy volume he would put up in big games. Due to his unguardable explosiveness off the dribble, he was open constantly, and shooting that percentage on mostly wide open shots just isn't good enough, making $40 million a year. He also didn't work on his handle enough, clearly didn't watch film enough, and which led to extremely questionable decision making in big games. In my opinion, if he would have just developed a set shot three-pointer, which he could have done because he was so open, I think he would have shot a much higher percentage. But when you watch his form, he was so high up in the air on his threes, it was just hard to be consistent. But this man was a shining light in a period of darkness for character in this area of the NBA. Yes, there was times where he got carried away with his trash talking, but in an era where greed and narcissism highlighted the LeBron, KDs, and Hardens of the era, Russ's mindset started and ended with one thing: playing hard. Yes, he had his flaws. Yes, I think he chased rebounds and assists a bit in 2017, but the man played as hard as he could every possession. We haven't seen an offensive rebounder at his size since Charles Barkley. While bullheaded and strong-willed, he never showed up his teammates on the court, always staying supportive in the media and never leaking things through his camp. For the most part, he also handled KD completely betraying him with class. That's the beauty of Russ. He didn't have a camp or a posse. He had his wife, who he met at UCLA and stayed loyal to, and he had his kids, who he has kept out of the limelight for their sake. When the media was bashing him for his decision-making in the 2012 Finals and the 2016 Western Conference Finals, you never heard him in the aftermath blaming coaches like other stars, despite the fact that the coaching did play a huge role. And even more impressive, despite getting betrayed and enduring some of the craziest abuse from the media I've ever seen during his Lakers tenure, he essentially held his tongue until one presser he finally admitted that he hadn't been allowed to be himself. Russ unfortunately never won a title, but he is still a first ballot Hall of Famer. And in my book, he's the last of a dying breed of superstar. No social media, no BS, just head down and playing hard. And for all his flaws, we can love him for that. And his dunks. Goodbye, Russ, and good luck, man. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate the support. I was a little sick this week, so thanks for bearing with me. Y'all left some really supportive comments in the last few videos, and that always fires me up, and thanks again, Shay, for hyping it. Some of you know I'm trying to get to 20 members by the end of September, those who are willing to help support the channel so I can grow and spend more time doing the research and making these videos. But more importantly, I want to promote and put out good mindsets out there for athletes, but also for life. If you guys are interested in supporting, the member link will be in the description. Thanks so much for everything, guys. Much love. Peace.
Some people say that, Russell has been relying on his athletic ability as opposed to skill.
Who said that?
A lot of people say that.
Well, a lot of people don't understand. This is the deal. If you block shots, ran the lane, dunked on people, do that. What got him here from UCLA is his raw takeover mentality. And if you're an athlete and you have that much athletic ability, you use it.
And our gymnastics team was so dominant that Kevin Durant told me he wants to play for them next year.
tell you, I don't think you'd start for that team, Kevin. Yeah. Russell Westbrook, what do you think?
What one thing Russell does is, like a Giannis, every day in practice, he only knows how to go one way, 1,000 miles an hour. He's going to show up every single day. There's no days off. He don't know what it looks like. He's going to prepare, go hard. When you're a coach and you're trying to teach, yo, come on. What is going on? He is the standard of it. Yeah, it might not translate to victories on the court because of his style of play, but his style of his work ethic, a coach is going to love it.
Because you can't teach it.
Because you can't teach it.
How many similarities do you see between you and Russell Westbrook?
A ton. I mean, I didn't smile much on the court either, but he plays the game with such an energy and such an aggressiveness. I think that needs to be appreciated. I mean, he's not out there trying to be cute with the basketball. He's not out there trying to make friends. I mean, this guy's playing hard every time down. And it takes a lot of energy to be able to do that, and he just never seems to run out of it.
A lot of pickup games at UCLA will happen, and this particular day, Kobe came, and I'm super hyped and super juiced because, to me, Kobe is the best in the world. But the number one lesson I got in that was that watching him, he was competing like it was the finals. And to me, it was so inspiring because it allowed me to understand, like, this is what you need to be like, regardless of where you at, what you're doing, however you playing, and I took that attitude and ran with it.
I pray every night before I go to bed and pray that good things happen for me and my family and my teammates and my coaches, and pray that everything go good and just pray everybody stay safe.
I'm not making no adjustment. Regardless of what anybody says or regardless of what you guys say or about how I play, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm going to play my game regardless of what happens. I'm going to go out and give 110% and try to find a way to help us win the game. When I hoop, I have no friends. Spalding, that's my friend, and my teammates, and that's it.